Joining us now is John Nathaniel Paschall. He is the stepson of Paul-Henri Nargeolet, one of the 5 men who boarded the Titan for its final journey. John, thanks so much for joining us at such a hard time. Gotta ask, how are you guys doing right now?
It's a lot to handle right now. Obviously, as you can probably imagine, we've been living a nightmare this week. And I think, that goes for all the families involved in this. We can speak about PH, but it's been truly just a nightmare of an experience that I hope no one ever has to go through again. But we're sticking together as a family and getting through it all one moment at a time.
These last few days, I can't even imagine. Were you being provided updates on what was going on with the search and rescue?
I'll speak for myself. I was informed directly with the Coast Guard starting on Wednesday. So I was speaking with them with other families, and we were given information that way. Earlier than that, I had just been talking with PH's daughter and his wife, getting updates that way. So I was informed throughout the week. I originally found out about it early Monday morning, but yes, I was informed, especially in the final days.
Did your family get to talk to PH before he embarked?
Yes, I believe some of his kids did. I'm not 100% sure, but I know obviously, with Sunday being Father's Day, I'm sure he got a few messages from his kids. I had spoken with him a few weeks before as well. I was actually planning on seeing him just after the 4th of July. We had scheduled some time to get together. And I had seen him in May as well when he had mentioned that he was going on this trip. And of course, knowing him and how many times he's been down there, I honestly thought nothing of it, other than it's another exciting trip for PH down at the Titanic, something he's done so many times and has been so successful with. So yeah, that's kind of the extent of the communication we've had with him.
Yeah, he seems to be such an icon to the diving community. Can you tell me a little bit more about PH?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought this up because there's so many, places online you can read about the number of dives he's done, the places he's been, and that's tremendous, right? But there's so much more to him as a person that I wanted to talk about. And he was a really incredible stepfather to me. I know sometimes with stepfathers, things can be a little bit tense in the family. My father was still in the picture, but he was so respectful and more. And of course, as a son, I always wanted, my mother to be protected, right? That, she was okay and loved. He did so much of that. And there's so many instances that, I was just blown away by his love and care for me, as a stepson. We first met in high school, in high school for me, which is about 2006. And, we just hit it off really well. And he was so kind to me, an incredible sense of humor too. I think, I want people to he's a prankster too. He has so many great stories about pranks he would play. And, whether it was, in his older days or when he was with the French Navy, it was so funny. And we spent so many nights together at the dinner table with my mom, and him just hearing about the stories he had. And, those are just incredible moments that I now look back on and really cherish.
Fearless and good-humored. I mean, that's what more can you ask for? As you think of him, what is his legacy to you?
Oh, boy. I think it's kind of what you said in terms of being fearless, right? I mean, there's so much of the discussion now is about risk, and the risks that everyone took going on board and the risks that, everyone has just, in terms of getting in a submersible period, right? There's so much risk in this world, in my opinion. And I think, going into this, he knew, the risks that were possible with this expedition. But again, he was fearless and, just so loving. And it's not only just his family. I saw the way he interacted with, coworkers as well. And other friends in the community. He was just such a well-respected guy that handled everything, so professionally, whether it was, Titanic related, expedition related, or it was just everyday life. I'm just so impressed by, the big heart, he has, and sense of humor he brought. And it's just a truly devastating day to hear this news.
And how would you describe his love of the ocean?
I mean, in my opinion, it was his home away from home. He was just so comfortable out there, and in any ocean, any lake, wherever. It was the water. The water was just so connected to him, and that especially goes for the Titanic. He put so much of his life into that ship, and I think it showed that he's, in my opinion, the world expert on the Titanic. And he talked about it pretty frequently with us. Of course, we talked about other things, life in general, and all that stuff that you would with a stepfather. But he was so passionate about it, and there were so many curiosities he had, and places he wanted to explore, and shipwrecks he wanted to dive on. It was so cool. It's funny, he talked about it so much, I almost became numb to it in a way, because of how much he talked about it and how cool it was. It's just, another amazing, expedition you get to go on. That's so cool. And, but yeah, he's just such an inspiration in terms of the amount of work he put in and his fearlessness with everything.
And finally, it's still too soon to know exactly what happened down there. But I want to ask, given everything that we've started to see with OceanGate and its history, what are the questions that you have for that company, or the family has for that company going forward?
I think for me, just understanding, were all the safety procedures followed as closely as possible. Was everyone aware of everything that was going on? Was there anything that was missed during any kind of inspection? But, at the same time, anyone who gets into those submersibles knows the risks that could happen. Nothing's perfect, nothing's impenetrable. There's risk anytime you get into a submersible. So I understand that, and I think his entire family does as well. But I think those are the things that, come to the top of mind, and, we'll hopefully get those answers at some point.
John, thank you so much for your time. Our condolences to your entire family. We're praying for you guys. Thank you.
Hey, I really appreciate it.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.